أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين الذي يذهب الله عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سبحانك رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي فوض امري الى الله بصير بالعباد. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. So continuing our journey into Ayatul Kursi, today I am going to touch upon the ayah, the verse, which is after the verse 255 and the verse 256, which according to a lot of narrations is part of the complete three verses that are used for protection. But actually the Ayatul Kursi ends at 255. But it is highly recommended to continue and to till 257. So in our household generally we are taught till 257. So in verse 256 is one of my favorite lines, which says, there is no compulsion in deen. La ikraha fi deen. And it's so interesting that when I opened Sheikh Fadlal's commentary on this, his translation is beautiful and he brings our attention to the word deen. And over here, instead of saying that deen is, religion, he says so he has this beautiful word that he's using instead of deen, instead of religion, he says life transaction. Okay, so I want everyone to feel excited about looking at this word with this completely new vision, where he's saying there is no compulsion in the life transaction. And he goes on to say, sorry, I'm just going to read the translation and then I'll go on to his further commentary. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. There is no compulsion in the life transaction. Truly, the right way has become clearly distinct from error. So whoever rejects corruption in disbelief and believes in Allah, indeed he has taken hold of the firmest handle which will never break, and Allah is hearing, knowing. So I'm very excited because I have all these ideas that I want to connect and share with you today. And it's really amazing where he's saying there is no compulsion in the life transaction. La ikraha fi din, qad tabayyana rushdu min al-ghayy, faman yakfur bil-taghuti wa yu'min billah, faqad istamsaka bil-urwati al-wuthqa la inqisama laha, wallahu sami'un alim. Now, when we talk about life transaction, Shaykh Abdullah says we are safe if we hold on to the safety belt of protective conduct during our journey. So if life is a journey and deen is a way of life, a way of passing the journey, then one cannot impose on others what kind of journey they choose for themselves. Now, he says over here, one cannot impose on others a safe journey along the path of mercy. Many may prefer merely to meander onto the enticing side tracks that flank the straight path. So, the beautiful thing about insan is that Allah Ta'ala has given us aql, and he defends this idea by saying we are Khalifatullah. He says that Ya Karrama Bani Adam. He has given us this ikram, this respect. And no one can take that away from a human being, whether man or a woman, because as we enter our adulthood, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I've given you aql, I have given you a special status, you are Khalifatullah, you are my representative. Representative of the one who is wise, representative of the one who is knowledgeable. And we got to give everyone that benefit that they too have this. Thank you, Kenny. No worries. And everyone is an adult in their own right. Everyone has the free will. So over here, when we talk about there is no compulsion in life transaction, what we're actually saying that it is a God-given right to everyone how they choose to pass this journey. And no soul shall bear the burden of another soul. So each soul has to be given that freedom, that openness, that decision-making power to decide what kind of life do they want to have, what kind of journey do they want to pass, what kind of quality of life do they choose for themselves. Now, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again and again says that I do not differentiate between genders, between race, and even he says that all the prophets in Surah Baqarah, if I'm not wrong, I don't know, 126, he says Isaac, Jacob, Jesus, Moses, all of them are my messengers, and I don't make any distinction between them. In Surah Yunus, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the Quran has come as a confirmation to all the previous scriptures. Oh, right. I think I didn't keep the mic close to my mouth. I hope this is better now. Is it better now? Okay, thank you. Okay, so the idea is that each one of us cannot be differentiated. We are all same in the eyes of Allah, and the only thing that differentiates us is taqwa, and only Allah knows taqwa, who is at what level of taqwa, and only Allah knows who is at what level of intention, what kind of pure intention anyone has. So first of all, we have to acknowledge that neither does a husband have a right over a woman's journey to God, neither does a woman have a right over the husband's journey to God, neither do parents have a right over children's journey to God, neither do children have a right over the parents' journey to God. Now, what we see is that in the Quran, we see this evidence that it's all merit-based to a very great extent. And Prophet Nuh's son doesn't make it in the walis of God, the friends of the Prophet. We see that, I think if I'm not wrong, some of the wives of the Prophets didn't make it. I think it was Hazrat Nuh's wife and Hazrat Saleh's wife, or one of them. Please forgive me for my ignorance. And we see that again and again when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the Ahl Bayt in the Quran, and he says that I have purified them. What I see in that verse is that Prophet Lut, thank you, Prophet Lut's wife. What I see is that there is an effort happening on the part of the Prophet to deserve that purification. So when in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again and again says that I give to whoever I please and I do not give to whoever I please. I reward the one I please and I punish the one I please. You think that sounds like a just God? Does that sound like a God who is who's sounding like, yeah, I am going to be giving out to my favorite person because, you know, XYZ reason? Sounds like a teacher who does favoritism. Interestingly, I went to my son's class visit on Thursday, and one of the teachers kept saying, oh, he's my favorite, he's my favorite. And I was hoping that she would say that he's her favorite because, you know, he's knowledgeable or something like that. So she said, yeah, he's really knowledgeable and he knows so much at XYZ. And till then I was like, oh, great, and we have this ego as a mom, like, yeah, I'm doing a good job. And then she's like, but also mainly because he reminds me of my nephew so much. He looks just like him and he talks just like him. And this is just like him and that. It's just like, and I really miss my nephew. So
And I was like, okay, that is wrong favoritism. You can't be doing that. You know, he's my favorite child, favorite child. Oh, because he reminds me of my nephew. So God is not like us. He's not like, he doesn't do favoritism. Otherwise, where would we put our trust? We can't trust him. We can be doing everything that we want and yet think, oh, God will favor the one he pleases. He says it in the Quran. I favor the one I please and I punish the one I please. So it's like it's my in my hands. But the underlying message over here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not saying that his judgment is flawed or that he will work out of his justice, that he will go beyond his justice to favor somebody just because he feels like it. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't lack stability of wisdom, of justice. He is fair, he is just, he is balanced. But what he's trying to say is that if you work hard and if you do everything that you're required to do, and if you go by the path of life, which is the straight path, then know that no one can take away from you what I want to give you. And if you are going to be unjust and if you're going to do things which are not making you worthy of a favor, then remember that I'm the one who decides. I'm the one who's going to make sure that zarratin sharrin yara wa zarratin khairin yara, every iota, every dot of good and bad, it will not go unnoticed. So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is again doing is that he's reminding us that the one who deserves my pleasure, no one can take pleasure away from them. And the one who deserves to, you know, get a reprimand, get a spanking, get a rehab, get a lesson for the path they've lost or whatever, no one can stop that from happening either. So have faith in me. Now, imagine if we had a friend who has never betrayed us, who is known for good business transactions, who is fair, who is honest, who has zero history of causing trouble. Then, if that friend comes and says, trust me, I will do the reckoning, I will do who needs what, I will give what I need to give, don't you worry. I'm the one who's in charge. Don't think that people in the world who are kings, who are presidents, who are treasurers, they can get away with the, you know, with the hanky panky they want to do, the miscalculation or favorism that they want to do. Imagine if the person you trusted the most said to you, I am the one who decides who to give and who not to give. You'll be like, yeah, if that guy's in charge, I'm so sure of justice. If that guy becomes the mayor and he takes decisions, if he passes the bills, I'm sure he's going to do a good job because I trust this person. So underlying all of these, these proclamations that Allah is making in the Quran, that I give to the one who I please, and I'm the one who decides everything. First of all, it is not like favoritism. It is him saying, I will give and no one can get in the way of justice. The other thing is, whoever deserves it will get it because that is his justice. Zarratin sharrin yara wa zarratin khairin yara. Even the dot of good and bad that we do, it's not going to go to waste. Allah says, I even notice the ishara, the slight movements of your eyes, even I notice. So we always have this surety that, in this world, when we are tested and we are challenged, and so many times people come and they say, what's the point of doing this when there is so much negativity? What's the point of doing good when the world is full of bad? What is my little good is going to do over here? And then on a daily basis, people who are sensitive to truth, people who are in the search for truth, people who want to be truthful, people who are working towards their own inner honesty, even they are constantly feeling, but I did everything good, but I was still treated unjustly. I was treated unjustly. How do I forgive this person? I was treated unjustly. How do I deal with this pain? How do I deal with this jealousy? How do I deal with this resentment towards this person? I was treated unfairly. And this is going to be a common narrative because the world is like that. That's the nature of the world. You are constantly tested and you're constantly put on the on in these places of trial, because Allah says, did you think you'll believe and you won't be tested? So that situation is going to keep coming. And when that happens, Allah is assuring you, I will give to the one I please. They don't have a shortcut. So you keep doing the good that you have to do. Don't doubt for a second that someone else will have the right to give and decide and be the master of the day of judgment. I will be the one deciding. So you be sure in your goodness. You be sure in whatever you are doing. And don't become hopeless. Don't despair, right? People say that if if there wasn't any day of judgment, then the world would feel so meaningless because there's so much unjust happening in this world, because a lot of people spend their lives waiting that the people who have hurt them will go to the hereafter and God will take revenge from them, right? A lot of people do that. And we have to understand that keeping that sense of revenge doesn't serve the higher stations of Iman. So we see Hazrat Ali alayhi salam that when he is struck with the sword of Ibn Muljam, he tells and he advises his sons, try to forgive him. But if you want to take revenge, then only do as much as he's done to me, only one strike. So there is complete balance of insaf. And then he's saying it's better to forgive. Why? Because that is the quality of God, right? My mercy overcomes my wrath. Now, what the point over here is to understand is that we have to come back and stay focused on our journey, in the sense that if something is happening to me in my life, which I think is unfair, how do I let go of this idea of revenge? How do I let go of this idea that I need to forgive? And I want to share something profound that I have realized recently in my life. So, when we're sensitive, we're like activists and we're fighting for rights and we're standing up for all of that. And being a woman who stands up for other women, who sides with the women, who fights for women's rights, who's working towards gender equality through the Quran, through Islam, I feel like when a human being forgets the karamat God has given them, the karama bani Adam that Allah has made each one of us, when we forget that, that's when we enter the victim mentality. That's when we forgive something was wronged and I don't have power and I am trapped and I am powerless. When we forget that. But if we change the perspective and we come into a state of tawheed where we understand that in ahsantum le anfusikum, when you do good, when you do hasana, you do it to yourself and no one else. In ahsantum le anfusikum, you're doing it for your own nafs, anfusikum, you're doing it for yourself, whatever good you do. And I've talked about it a lot before, but there are layers to these ideas that open themselves like manifestations of knowledge from God. And I'm really grateful for this realization that when we look at the example of the Holy Prophet and he goes to Taif and he's pelted and he's bleeding, and Jibreel says, let me punish them. They were unfair to you. They treated you unfairly. He says, let them be. They're ignorant. They're like children. They'll learn with time. Then we see that the woman who's throwing trash on the Holy Prophet, he keeps letting her do it again and again and again until one day she doesn't. He goes and visits her and returns all of that nastiness from this woman, and he returns it with kindness. As if with Prophet's personality, he doesn't live in a world of transaction at all. She did this to me, so I will do that to her. It's like he is, according to what a lot of people say to me, and we would say to people who are not realistic, we would say he was living in his own la la land, right? He was living in his own world, which is a metaphysical world. He was not in this world. He was living in his own world. He was living in his own space. He was living in the kingdom of God. Because in kingdom of God, there is unlimited of everything. So the Prophet was so generous, so grounded in his karama bani Adam. He was so connected to the favor of God that then whatever anybody else does just doesn't matter to him, because he's held in the warm embrace of the biggest king of the world. It doesn't matter what other people say to him or do to him. So for a minute, if we enter that kingdom of God within us, we suddenly leave the world of transaction of cause and effect behind. We enter a world where it becomes a one focus, single focus journey of what I want to become. Who do I want to be? And if we keep bringing our attention and intention back to who do I want to become, then the lady who was throwing trash was simply sent by God in the life of the Prophet to keep polishing his own character. Oh, this woman is now a simulation in my video game where God has put her there so I can be challenged, so that my spiritual muscles can be challenged, so that I can build on the muscles where I can expand on my generosity, on the jawadiyat, the quality of being generous with God. And in the same manner, in any situation, I was in conversation with a lady yesterday who said, I'm just so exhausted. I'm just so tired. I don't think the situation can change until and unless the other person changes. If that was the case, life would be really unfair. Deepak Chopra, in one of his meditations, where I think is the Energy of Attraction series, there are two meditations on relationships. And he says that if two people together had to elevate a relationship, then that would be extremely disempowering. So in any situation, you have the power to change your reality. You have to understand that while the pain body, the pity party wants to put the blame on other people, you're really hurt, while you feel like I'm done with this, I don't have the energy, I'm so exhausted, I don't have it in me to do any of it. Remember, you are disempowering yourself. Yes, we get tired. Yes, we want to rest. We want to take breaks. But remember, they always do this. They never listen. They will always treat me like a doormat. No. This teacher, Sheikh Jafi Ibrahim from the Sufi school, in his book, he writes that the words never and always are whispers of shaitan. Because always and never doesn't exist in our life. We are constantly going up and down. People are not always mean to us. You just have to look harder. They were nice to you. They have done good things too. That's why you've continued to live with them until so far. And there is no never or always. Let go of that vocabulary. So when I coach people and I say, right now, shift your mindset to gratitude. What do you want in life? Whatever you want in life, whatever you want to increase in your life, you got to put all your attention and energy on that. Just like I have flaws, my my person I have a conflict with has flaws. Just like I have some good things, they have good things. Can I focus on the good to increase it? Yeah. It's so empowering to think that it was my thoughts that manifested a difficult situation in my life. And people get very triggered. They're like, oh my God, how dare you blame me for this painful situation that that person has inflicted on me? Thank you so much for not listening to me. Thank you. So, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. Sometimes I lack the empathy. But when I see a fully grown adult who has had millions of lessons in self empowerment and forgets karama bani Adam, I am really, really honored. I have so much power. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my destiny. I have the power to change the energy in my family, especially the women. Especially the women, because the men have been assigned a certain job of, earning, providing. And I'm not saying women can't do it, women can also do it. But the nourishing energy that a woman has, the sensitivity, the emotional power that a woman has, because of which when a baby is crying, a mother suddenly knows what to do to calm the baby down, to soothe the baby, right? A mother knows it. Why does she know it? Because she has a divine intuitive wisdom to connect with the hearts of her children. A woman has a divine wisdom, divine intuition to connect with hearts. I have mentioned this before and I'll say it again. In the book Escalate, the author, I think his name is Doug, he says that in order to de escalate any situation where there is a lot of anger, stop, completely mute the words that are coming your way. Do not listen to the words of this person. Don't pay attention to what they're saying from their mouth. Take a pause and tune into their heart and intuitively decide what is their heart message. What are they trying to say? So many times we get offended by our spouses and we want them to somehow have the magical power of reading what is on our mind and then do that so that we can feel love. Doesn't he know every day I like to have coffee like this with this? Or doesn't he know that on my birthday I always like to have waffles or whatever, right? And he forgets, right? And then he's like, hey, look, I made pancakes for you. And you're like, get out of here. You don't even remember I like waffles. Like, seriously, it's the most important day of my life. And this is what you're going to do to me? So he's like, listen, tell me, what is it? What did I do wrong? I have no idea what I did wrong. Like, no. Do you want me to be here? Okay, I'm really sorry. Sorry for what? No, you don't remember. You don't remember. And he's gonna be like, I don't know. I can't understand what's going on. And in your expectations, you're pushing the person away. And then he's saying, can I please hug you? And you're like, I don't want any hugs. Go away. I don't want any hugs. But actually, you want the hugs, don't you? You want to test their love. You want to push them away. And you really want to test their love and say, can they listen to my heart message? Can they listen to my heart message? And now, ladies, pay attention. We are the ones who can hear the heart message. We have to lead the way. We have to be the healers of the hearts. We have to give the love. We have the womb within us that nourishes. That is why we have this intuitive wisdom to hold families together, bring peace and harmony into homes, and help make our homes a place of harmony. Because I understand, I've been there to say, why do I have to do everything as a woman? Why do I compromise? Why? Let's flip the story and see how much power you have that the other person doesn't have. They have the power to do other things. They have the power to strain themselves. They have the power to physically strain themselves, go out, travel, earn, make decisions. They have the power to stay rational, mind you. And I hope that all of us ladies over here can now look at it as a good quality and not as something that we crib about. I've been there. That we'll be in the middle of this really emotional argument or a situation, and our husbands can easily go and conduct a business meeting. They can calmly talk and they'll say, yeah, let's move this meeting here. Yeah, let's change the rates, as if your pain is having zero effect on them. And you're like, he really doesn't care. He's so not bothered. Like, this was such a big issue for me. Why isn't he bothered? You know why? God didn't make him this emotional for a reason, so that the risk doesn't stop, so he can continue to work. He's not like the women who are nourishers, who are emotional. Yes, it is our quality to be emotional because we can nourish people and understand their heart message. So when we understand about the heart message, feel the power that we hold within us. Feel that empowered status that Allah has given to us so that we can read into the heart messages of our family. So we can empathize with them. And when we do that, we teach along the way. Honestly, it was so funny that my coach in my marriage coaching, she taught me that you gotta be the one who encourages, you gotta be the one who sees the positive. So she would say, why don't you say to your spouse, he'll say, no, I don't think I can throw the trash every day. And you can turn around and say, I have complete faith in you. I know you can do this. You're so good. Remember that day you did it? I know if you did it that day, you can do it again. And so, I'd be like that with my husband. And then he turned the tables on me when he wanted me to do something. He started saying, I have complete faith in you. You can do it. And I couldn't stop laughing. And I'm like, oh my God. So he quickly caught on to something I was practicing, which was my tool. And without any instructions, he caught on to that way of doing life. While I became his encourager, he also became my encourager, which can expand us, expand our soul. And I cannot forget this line from Dr. Joe Dispenza, where he said, you don't get what you want, you get what you become. And the journey is about becoming. Remember? The journey is about becoming. So now when you have someone you are having difficulty forgiving, and you're having difficulty dealing with them, you have resentments with them, remember your intention is to become a soul that is constantly expanding in its awareness, a soul that is constantly expanding in its virtues, a soul that is constantly becoming more and more aware of the work that is needed inside, and more gratitude fills us for the enemies in our life who teach us which triggers need work. So thank your enemies for showing to you your triggers so you can work on them. Now, I was talking to somebody and they said that, I can't believe it, I'm starting to get my old nightmares again. Okay, it's a very big reality. And we see our demons, we have these traumatic situations in our life, we have nightmares that give us these traumas in our life. They give us, they scar us, they leave us with a wound that is not healed. And it starts to manifest to us through our dreams, because dreams come from the subconscious world. A lot of times, things that don't manifest themselves through the meditations, they manifest themselves through dreams. Now, what happens is that we get scared. And the past nightmares, you thought you've overcome it. You've been there, you've done that, you've overcome that phase of your life. And then now you enter a new phase of your life, but an old nightmare comes back. And just a few moments ago, this person was saying to me, my life is just going in the same cycle all over again. What does God want from me? I've done so much inner work. Why am I seeing the same pattern of injustice in my life? Why am I seeing the same pattern of people mistreating me all over again? This is so unfair. I can't do this anymore. I don't have the energy. And then when you have the nightmare, at least this person got this nightmare from long, long, long ago, and there was this severe panic of saying, I did all the work, I got rid of all of that, but the cycle is back in my life, and now I'm actually getting a confirmation that my life is ruined all over again because I actually got the same nightmare. But guess what? You asked God, God, why is my life spiraling back into an old pattern? And God did you a favor. He manifested to you the thoughts that are stuck in your subconscious mind that you need to release. So the nightmare came to tell you the story you haven't released yet. The nightmare came as a vision from God, as a message from God saying, guess what? You have not let go of your victim mentality, which has been there within you, deep, deep, deep inside. And the nightmare has come to you as a message saying, let's work on this. So the nightmare was actually a blessing, saying your pattern is getting repeated because there is an algorithm in your subconscious mind that needs to be unlocked and released. There is some programming from your childhood, from your parents, who also lived in victim mentality, and you don't realize it, but it's still existing within you. Get rid of these germs. When we see germs of wrong patterns, wrong thoughts in our subconscious mind, we don't have to get scared. Guess what? You are Karrama Bani Adam. You are Khalifatullah. The dream doesn't get to scare you. Everything in this universe has been created to serve you. The angels bowed down to Adam. The whole universe and all the forces have been created to serve you so you can reach your God. And so your dreams serve you. Your enemies serve you. Your friends serve you. Your teachers serve you. Your friends and foes, everyone is there to serve you in one and only purpose of bringing out the best in you. So when we get tired, then as they say, rest as you must. But the journey has to keep on carrying on in the light, in the torch of remembering how powerful I am with the power of my God. I have the breath of God within me. Oh my God. I am so powerful. I have the power to move mountains. Let's talk about this. What does it mean to move mountains? I know I've heard it since childhood, but in the Quran, my teacher says, mountains represent metaphorically egos. And when in Surah Hashr it says the mountains will crumble, it's when the soul reaches its state of self-accountability, the ego crumbles. Because Yawmul Hashr is a day of accountability, the moment of accountability, and we're living in the day of judgment every moment. So how do I have the power to crumble some other mountains? See, they say when something comes from the heart, it touches the heart. The same way when something comes from the ego, it touches the ego. So if you're going to be egoistic and you're going to spiral an argument out of control because you're stuck in your pain body and your victim mentality and your ego, then you're going to start spiraling and activating another person's ego as well. That's why arguments spiral out, and you got to de-escalate. So how do you de-escalate? When you let go of your ego and you come from a place of connected intention to the divine, the purity and sincerity of your intention, and saying, the person in front of me is not my enemy. The person in front of me is an agency of God sent specifically to challenge my spiritual muscles. You don't see them as a personal enemy anymore. You don't hold a vendetta against them. Are you going to hold a vendetta against God? That's okay. God can handle it. Go ahead, fight it out with God. Because that person in front of you is an agency of God here to help you exercise your spiritual muscles. So the next step is you feel angry at God. God, why did you send me this challenge? And go talk to God. God can handle it. Ask him your questions. He will answer it. So now, when we are in a place of understanding our purpose, we are aligned with our intention, we take away the power the enemy has over us. They can go on belittling us, demeaning us. And in that moment, if you come into your power, do you know what is our biggest superpower? All of us hold the energy of love, which is the biggest power of healing. Can you return this hatred? Can you return this pain that the other person is manifesting because of their own issues? They're projecting their own issues. They're projecting their own hurt on you because they're trying to hurt you. In that moment, can you ground yourself, enter a space of love, connect to the source of love, and send a blessing or a prayer? Can we do that? That's how we take the torch in our hand and we become the torch bearers of love in this world. We got to believe in our power. We are not helpless. We are not powerless. I know it's a little harsh, but Anthony Hopkins on some video on Instagram was saying, believe, 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 and you will achieve. Believe. Do you think that the women today believe in their power? The ones who believe in the power are not scared. They can calmly face their enemies and talk and do the work they've got to do. What does the Quran say? You go to your adversary with kindness and good word. And when you show goodness, even the enemy turns into a friend. This is the power we hold. And we cannot give ourselves the right to talk about world peace when the little situations within our homes need our expansion, needs our input into the pool of peace and love that I'm supposed to contribute. So instead of constantly crying about what we don't get in our relationships, instead of constantly crying about what expectations were broken, how many apologies were not given to you, take pride in your power to apologize. Lead by example. Be the first one to give love, healing, forgiveness, generosity. Stand in your power. And we all know the Prophet said, the bravest amongst you is not the one who can kill so many soldiers on the battlefield, The bravest amongst you is the one who can control his anger. De-escalate. So how do you move mountains? When you come from a place of softness within you, when you come from a place of love within you, the way we will interact with the mountains standing in front of us will be so powerful that their egos will start to crumble. And it's a process, doesn't happen overnight. But don't forget the power of faith. It's only when you put faith over fear and you keep walking in your power that you will be witnessing miracles. And Oprah said something. She said, I don't say thank you because I have everything. I have everything because I say thank you. What do we do? I'm going to thank my spouse once he gets me this. Can you find any reason to be grateful with your spouse right now, your parents right now, your children right now, before they come up to your expectations? Instead of keeping expectations from them, can you exceed their expectations? And I know it needs a lot of expansion. It needs a lot of stamina. But we don't have the stamina. We don't do the expansion. It is God who creates that healing. It is God who creates that expansion in the soul. It is God who gives to us the blessing of generosity in our hearts. So coming back to our intention of self-purification, self-perfection, relying on God completely, forgetting about the transaction of what we get, but what can I give? I don't care who you are. I care who I become. I don't care what you have in mind and what your intention in life is. I care about what my intention is. You can have any purpose in life, but my purpose in life is to better myself, polish myself, beautify myself, bring harmony, peace, and contentment within myself. And guess what? Science says that when somebody is in a state of gratitude, the brain is literally decapacitated of thinking anything else. So the brain loses its ability to think any negative thoughts, anything else at all when it is in a state of gratitude. So tell me something. Your sister doesn't give you a birthday present, forgets your birthday. And you're so upset. You're like, she's my only sister or whatever. I do so much for her. And she forgot my birthday, the most important day of my life, right? And you're sitting and you're cribbing and you're hurting and you're hurting and you're hurting and you're hurting and you're crying. She has no idea. She didn't even remember. So how can you end your own misery? How can you stop hurting yourself because of something she's done? You can remember all the good things she has done and be grateful for that. You can find a reason to empathize. And the best and the most effective way to empathize with anyone is to remember that you must have forgotten a lot of things in your life too. You may not have forgotten your sister's birthday, but you must have forgotten something in your life. So it's not like you're free of that flaw. So just like you're human and you make mistakes, they also make mistakes. But do you want to waste this precious life, cribbing, crying, self-pity, victim mentality? Do you want to do that? You've got to make that decision. And you've got to enter the power that you hold. And that's why in this verse, when it says, there is no compulsion in the life transaction. So the one who rejects corruption and disbelief and believes in Allah, indeed he has taken hold of the firmest handle. So what is it practically to say that you take hold of the firmest handle, which is Allah, believing in Allah? What is that? Believing He is perfect, believing He is beautiful, and I want to become like Him. Now, as a closing remark, I've been itching to express this insight that I've had on a hadith Qudsi, which says, قَدْ عَرَفَ نَفْسَهُ فَقَدْ عَرَفَ رَبَّهُ, and you've seen me repeat it so many times. What I want to say here is that قَدْ عَرَفَ نَفْسَهُ, when you know yourself, it doesn't say قَدْ عَرَفَ نَفْسَهُ فَقَدْ عَرَفَ Allah, فَقَدْ عَرَفَ لِلَّهِ. It says قَدْ عَرَفَ نَفْسَهُ فَقَدْ عَرَفَ رَبُّهُ. قَدْ عَرَفَ نَفْسَهُ فَقَدْ عَرَفَ رَبُّهُ, your Lord. So there are two ways of understanding this. One is the Lord, capital T, capital L, the Lord, the God, the ultimate. But the first step is to recognize, until now, when I have been in pain, I have been cribbing, I have been a victim. Until now, who am I? And until now, who is my God? If until now, who am I? I'm in a victim mode. I'm in a powerless mode. I'm in a hopeless mode. Okay, قَدْ عَرَفَ نَفْسَهُ. I found this ma'rifat about myself. I get this knowledge about that I get self-irfan. Okay, I am in a victim mode. Okay, that's a realization. Okay, I'm becoming aware of it. While I've been in this mode, who had I made my Lord? Was it my professor who didn't give me good grades? Was it my boss who didn't give me a raise? Was it my husband who didn't say goodbye to me when going to work? Who is my God? Who has the turn on and turn off button? Who can switch my moods on and off? Who has power over me? Who do I worship? Who do I want to make happy? Until now. So we go on a journey of self-discovery where we realize, am I exercising this freedom to decide who will be my Lord? Am I exercising the freedom of deciding who do I want to become? No one can force you to become what you don't have inclination to become. But once you decide, then you want to become Abdur Rahman, then the path to Abdur Rahman is that no matter what comes in your way, the challenges have come so that it gives you an opportunity to show Rahmah on the other person. Because you have decided to become Abdur Rahman. And what that entails is that, yeah, it's easy to be Rahman to the people who are showing Rahmaniyat to you. It's easy to show mercy to the people who are showing mercy to you. But now, keeping in line with your purpose and intention, when you ask God, I want to be Abdur Rahman, I want to emulate my merciful God, I want to show mercy, then guess what? You will get plenty of opportunities where you will not be shown mercy. But will you exercise your power to show mercy in return? There is no compulsion. But like Captain Planet would say, the power is yours. Thank you so much, everyone, for your beautiful energy and for a lovely, insightful evening. While I talk to you, I learn a lot. Everything that I say, I need to practice it first and foremost. So mostly it's like I know it's Zoom in front of me, but it's like me standing in front of my mirror and mirroring the lessons I need to learn myself. So I'm very grateful for this space where I can verbalize my own journey and my own flaws and my own demons that need work. And to end the session, I would like us all to raise our hands in dua. Oh Allah, we come to you sometimes in our arrogance, knowing that you, the King, is the one who is my God. And sometimes in utter wretchedness of knowing that I have nothing within me to deserve you as my God. And then coming back to a place of security and safety, of knowing that I am associated with a God who gives not because of who I am, but because of who He is. And we come to you, O Allah, with this hope that we have found you beautiful and perfect. And we pray to you to make us the way you would like to see us. O Allah, we come to you with our helplessness and our powerlessness. And we seek all of our power, all of our hope through you, through your love, through your mercy. O Allah, let there not be a single moment where you judge us according to who we are, but judge us according to the fazl and the karam and the rahmah that you are an embodiment of. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. Thank you, everyone. I really do miss Ghulam uncle with his beautiful insights and questions. Thank you, everyone, for really being that support for me all these years. I'm human. Sometimes I feel alone. Sometimes I feel weird, mad. But you guys have been so beautiful in your sincerity that a lot of times I am corrected and I learn along the way. But I love this community where there is compassion, where there is love, where there's acceptance. And the best part is that I call myself young, and you guys are all young, no matter what age, because it's a sign of youth to be open minded to new ideas and be willing to change no matter what age we're at. So today I want to celebrate all of you. And sorry, I had an intention to connect my talk to be Fatima Zahra because over here we're doing Ayam Fatimiyya, but what Allah deems best comes through these sessions. So perhaps I want to celebrate the women and the feminine energy, the Fatimi energy that is so generous, that is so giving, that is so beautiful, that is so knowledgeable. Bibi Fatima Zahra was a teacher to the companions of the Prophet who were 3 times her age. She had an expansive knowledge. She was Umme Abiha, the mother of her father. She was caring. She was nurturing. She became the nurturer of prophethood itself. She became the nurturer of the message of Quran itself. So with that, I leave you, my beautiful ladies, with a special dedication and reminding you of your power that you hold within yourself that can change anything and bring peace to your homes. Take care, everyone. Have a lovely week. And remember me in your prayers. Do not forget remembering me and my family in your prayers. Take care. Allah Hafiz. And good night.